Good evening, everyone. My name is David Punzak, and I'm a board member and the secretary of the Heroes of the St. Pete Police. And on behalf of the entire board, I'd like to welcome all of you here this evening for this solemn and joyful occasion. At this time, we'd like to proceed with the unveiling of the monument. pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Halt. Mark time. Mark. Cut the back. Move. Forward. Mark.
Again, I want to welcome all of you here this evening for this wonderful occasion. We gather here tonight to honor the memory and families of 15 St. Pete police officers who have fallen in the line of duty. I cannot think of a more selfless or brave act than laying down one's life in the line of duty in public service. However, our goal this evening is not to look backwards in sadness, but rather to look forward in optimism and pride. Our organization was created with a view towards honoring the sacrifices of these wonderful fallen officers and their families, and to providing a venue where honoring them can take place in a setting of beauty, solitude, and reflection. So in closing, I'd just like to share with you a line from one of my favorite movies, Saving Private Ryan. It's a scene early on in the movie where Tom Hanks and the other soldiers are sent out to find Private Ryan, come upon a German pillbox up on a hill that's been mowing down Allied soldiers. Private Reuben says to Captain Miller, played by Tom Hanks, "I got a bad feeling about this." Tom Hanks then says back to him, "When was the last time you felt good about anything?" If you've seen the movie, you know they move forward, they take out the German pillbox, but at grave personal loss. To me, that's why we're here tonight. These officers sacrifice themselves in line of duty so that we can all have the freedoms that are so greatly bestowed upon all of us today. All of us and this entire city owe them an eternal debt of gratitude. Hopefully this monument will exist forever to remind us all of their sacrifice. I sure feel good about what we're doing today. With that, I'd like to introduce Andy Hayes, the owner of Hayes Cummings Architects here in St. Pete. Andy's on the Heroes Board, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about the monument itself and to provide some details about the installation and construction. Andy?
Thank you, Dave. Good evening. Hayes Cummings Architects is humbled and honored to have the board choose us to do this monument design. I can't think of a more fitting day to dedicate this. 1013. The police officers use 10 codes to communicate. 1013 means assist police officer. And that's one of the core values of the Heroes of St. Pete Police Foundation, to do exactly that. How do you design a symbol? Particularly a symbol that's the symbol of the ultimate sacrifice. Words don't justify it or describe it, but I would like to highlight 3 or 4 things that we hope that you'll take with you. First, like these officers, the materials of the memorial are enduring: concrete, granite, and aluminum. The circle around the memorial represents the circle of service by the St. Pete Police Force. from past generations of officers that will wear the badge to those in the future who will serve and protect us. The aluminum panel just below the flag has the names of the officers in no particular order. This represents the absolute randomness of how they met their fate on that individual day. Along the straight path, there are uplights. These lights are inscribed with the values that each one of these men and the officers that serve today bring to the job every day: service, sacrifice, honor, duty, courage, commitment, discipline, and loyalty. I'd just like to close by saying thank you for letting us play a small part in honoring the colossal sacrifice of these men, the ultimate sacrifice of these heroes. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. With that, I'd like to introduce some of our speakers tonight. First up is Mayor Bill Foster. As you know, Bill is a tireless advocate for St. Pete, and he's done a great job of leading our city for the past 3 years. He guided our city through its darkest hours last year when we lost 3 of our police officers, and has been a stalwart supporter of the St. Pete Police Department. Mayor Bill Foster.
Well, good evening. What a beautiful sight for such a memorial as this. Here we are in a park that we call Demens Landing. And this park was named after one of the fathers of the city of St. Petersburg, Peter Demens. And St. Petersburg was named after his hometown of St. Petersburg, Russia. So here we are in probably the most solemn and most honored and treasured parks that we have, befitting of a memorial to our fallen heroes. First and foremost, I wanted personally acknowledge and thank the men and women of the St. Petersburg Police Department, past and present, for your selfless service to the people of St. Petersburg and for your dedication to the principles of respect, accountability, and integrity. From the moment you wake up in the morning to the time you go to sleep, you place the needs of others above your own, and at a moment's notice are prepared and willing to face the perils of evil with valor and with strength, and thus you are the truest definition of public servant. To the families of those in law enforcement, your role and sacrifice is not unnoticed. For those who wear the badge would not be the people they are without you and your sacrifice. Today we honor our fallen, those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty, those who laid down their lives in service to this community. The realities and dangers of law enforcement were made crystal clear to me when 2 of my friends were shot in the line of duty. And while I was acutely aware of the pain and despair of the family and friends, I witnessed the loving embrace of the family of law enforcement and the heroics of physicians, and medical staff assisting our officers to recovery. I also witnessed the heart and determination of these 2 heroes as they returned to active duty. However, with over 30 years separating us from the loss of Detective Herb Sullivan, nothing could have prepared us for the events of January 24, 2011, when we lost Sergeant Thomas Batinger and Canine Officer Jeffrey Yaslowitz, nor had we even begun to recover by the evening of February 21st, 2011, when we lost Officer David Crawford. The harrowing events of 2011 forever changed the men and women of the St. Petersburg Police Department, and it left a lasting scar upon the heart of St. Petersburg. To all of those who pause at this Heroes Memorial, let it serve as a constant reminder of the sacrifices made by those who dedicated their lives to public safety. And may it further remind you of just how far our men and women are willing to go to protect the citizens and the visitors of this great city. Anytime you encounter an officer, anywhere, stop, take a moment, and say thank you. To the heroes of the St. Pete Police, its board of directors, and all of those efforts who led us to this moment, a profound thank you. We would not be here this evening without your time, your talent, and your financial contributions. And on behalf of a very grateful city, we say thank you. And in closing, just a moment ago, I was speaking with a friend of mine who I've known for many years. And as he walked up and we spoke, I had no idea that the Mike Bissett that I've known had a connection with the St. Petersburg Police Department. And I said to him, because he lost his father in the line of duty in 1961, and I said to him, up until this point, your dad's name was just a name on a plaque. And now the stories can be told, and when we say we will never forget to the families, we mean it. And it's because of the heroes of the St. Pete Police Department and their efforts that made sure that the people of this city will never forget. Thank you all, and God bless you.
Thank you, Mayor. I now have the pleasure of introducing the Honorable Rick Kreisman. Most of you know Rick from his service on the St. Pete City Council and most recently as a member of the Florida House of Representatives, capably representing our city. Rick is also an inaugural board member of the Heroes and is the driving force in getting this done today. Rick Kreisman.
Good afternoon. October 22nd, 2003. On that date, an organization known as St. Petersburg's Finest formally filed its Articles of Incorporation. In the Articles of Incorporation, the organization listed its 3 directors and officers, Judy Woodworth, James Newman, and Richard Kreisman, and stated its general purpose: to operate for the benefit of and to lessen the burdens of the St. Petersburg Police Department. In the articles, the organization also listed as its specific purposes, quote, to provide community support for the St. Petersburg Police Department, to provide funding for the purchase of specialty safety equipment for the St. Petersburg Police Department that's outside the ordinary city budgetary process, to provide funding for families of officers of the St. Petersburg Police Department in crisis or with tragedies, and to provide funding for a monument for slain officers of the St. Petersburg Police Department. In our organization's first few years, we were able to provide funding for several officers and their families who were experiencing a personal crisis or tragedy. However, despite our early fundraising success, we still had not raised the necessary funds to build a monument to the then 12 officers who had lost their lives in the line of duty. Then the unthinkable happened. After more than 30 years without losing an officer, our department lost 3 men in 1 month. And while the building of the monument had always been one of our organization's founding purposes, these tragedies spurred a renewed sense of urgency. Our city needed to honor their lives and the lives of the officers before them in a grand but respectful way. For all of us involved in this organization, from those who served on the board of St. Pete's Finest to those who now serve on the board of the Heroes of the St. Pete Police, though our emotions are so painfully mixed, we are so proud to have finally reached this moment. Our pride is not in what we accomplished as a board. Our pride is for our community and knowing that finally we are able to tangibly display how appreciative we are of these 15 officers, of the sacrifices of their families, and of the men and women who continue to serve us today. 15 men over the course of 107 years. Different backgrounds, different personalities, different interests, but a shared love of our community and a shared desire to serve and to protect. It takes a very special kind of man or woman to do this dangerous, often thankless job. Most of us couldn't do it. But for these brave men and women, putting their lives on the line every day to keep us safe is a part of who they are. For these public servants, it's a calling. And we all recognize that the officer isn't the only one serving. Most of these brave men and women who wear the uniform are backed up by a supportive family. Husbands and wives, boyfriends and girlfriends, partners, parents, siblings, friends, and children. We love and respect them, and some are here today, as much as we do the officers whose names are engraved on this monument. In closing, while this monument is beautiful, it's also unsettling, for there is space for more names. I pray that we never add another name, but the nature of police work makes that unlikely. But we can do our best. In fact, the very best way to pay tribute to these heroes is not with a monument at all, but by doing everything we can as a community to keep safe the men and women who still protect us today. I think that is what their fallen colleagues would really want. So on behalf of the Board of Directors for the Heroes of the St. Pete Police, past and present, I thank you for being here, and thank you to the citizens and corporate partners who helped make this day a reality. Thank you, and may God bless our fallen heroes, their loved ones, and the city of St. Petersburg.
Thanks, Rick. I now have the pleasure of introducing Leslie Curran, St. Pete City Council Chair. Leslie was elected to City Council in 2005 and re-elected in 2009. She's done a great job for our city. Please welcome Leslie Curran.
Good evening. I had to bring the whole group with me because really we're all a part of this community. You know, when an officer is killed in the line of duty, it's not just their partner, their unit, the police officers in the department, and the entire department that suffers. It's really the entire community. And today is the day that we see that community come forward to honor and memorialize not just the 3 officers that we lost so tragically recently, but all of those that have lost their lives for service to our community. When an officer gets up in the day to get ready for work and is putting on their uniform and their badge, they don't do that as heroes. They do that because that's their job. And for that, I know that myself and the entire City Council is eternally grateful. We would not have the community that we have without the police department that we have and the officers that we have that work so jointly with the community. This monument is beautiful. It's going to be a place for people to come and not only reflect upon the past, but also to look forward to the future. I think the most important thing is that through all the tragedy that we've seen happen, especially with the department as of late, we know that the future can be brighter with all of the community coming together. And I think that's obviously what we've shown today. That's what all of you have shown to your fellow officers. I thank you for that. I thank you for the group that got together to do this memorial and do the other service for the officers and their family, and just really encourage all of you to come down here on other days, visit it, think about it, and move forward into the future. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Leslie. And last, I'd like to introduce St. Pete Police Chief Chuck Harmon. Chuck joined the police department 30 years ago in 1982 and was named police chief 11 years ago in 2001. Please welcome Chuck Harmon.
The words that have been spoken today are heartfelt and meaningful, and I certainly appreciate those. I stand before you today in a vain attempt to represent all the law enforcement that wears the uniform throughout this nation, the state of Florida, Pinellas County, and specifically St. Petersburg. Thank you. Joining the police department 30 years ago was a time every May that we would come through and we would listen to names that were read. These names that are on the board. And although I knew Tom and Dave and Jeff personally, there was a time that we all reflect, anybody that puts his badge on every May, and remember those who died before us, those that gave their life in the ultimate sacrifice. So today my message is one of thanks. And specifically the theme's going to be they didn't have to, but they did. These 15 names are people, my heroes. They came to and decided to put on a badge, a gun, and go out and police this community. They didn't have to do it, but they did. During the time that they did that, they obviously lost their lives, and the community mourned. I wasn't here in 1905 when the first officer who was killed was actually the chief of police. There's probably 3 or 4 of them at the time, total. Tragedy nonetheless, and I'm not sure how the mourning was in 1905. I can attest to it in 2011 because it was close to home. And I'm sure for the families that are here today, it didn't get any easier in the 40s or the 50s or the 60s, and those things are still heartfelt. But I do want you to understand and to know that those names are read very proudly, and we're going to do that in a few minutes, with honor, with dignity, and with respect. And they will always be read that way. To the board, to the heroes, and Rick Kreisman kind of outlined how a small group kind of got together. I remember sitting in an office with me, you, Judy, and Gary once the concept was kind of developed, and kind of go, where do we kind of go from here? So this is almost a 10-year process of trying to get this done. So thank you to the board members that are standing behind me today. Again, you didn't have to be here and do this, but you did. So thank you so much. To the men and women of the St. Pete Police Department, thank you. You choose to come to work. You choose to perform a job and task that seems ever more difficult. 30 years ago, things seemed a little simpler. And today, in this complex world with everything going on, it's just harder and harder. So my hat's off to those men and women who are serving now, who have served before, and will serve past us in the future for their job and what they will continue to do and provide protection for this community. Thank you to our community. You didn't have to come support us in 2011 or as early as 1905, but you did. Thank you for that. The overwhelming support that I saw, as I said, I'm sure that it was a groundswell back in those days as well. And although many of us aren't old enough to witness it, I'm sure that maybe Mike and some others could attest to what happened back then if you want to hear a story. I just want to close by saying that this doesn't get any easier every year that we do this. To try to find words to describe the efforts and the abilities and the sacrifices that were made. We went to Tallahassee, we go to Washington. Some of us have represented us. I see Mike Garofalo back here has typically represented us over the years, going to some of these monuments and things. But to have 200 people go to Washington, D.C. this past year in May to celebrate Tom and Dave and Jeff and see what really happened across the nation, there's just too many names being read. And as Rick said, I hope we never add another one. Thank you.
President Calvin Coolidge said of honor, "No person was ever honored for what he received. Honor has been for what he gave." Scripture reading today is Romans 13, 1 through 3. Everyone must submit himself to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, he who rebels against authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so bring judgment on themselves. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Jesus, we just stand humbly in the shadows of this monument, a reminder of sacrifice, duty, and honor. We all here silently wonder, where do we get such brave men? These band of brothers at the St. Petersburg Police Department. Men that run towards danger while others flee from it. And then your voice, O King, can be heard. You selected these men. You yourself have called these men to battle evil, and they gave their last full measure of devotion to you. So we ask your blessing on this monument, made of stone and steel, so there will be an example of honor, sacrifice, and courage will forever be remembered. And to you, all the power and the glory and honor. Amen.
We're going to present a wreath, and I'm going to read the names of the fallen officers. Chief of Police James J. Mitchell. End of watch, December 25th, 1905. Constable Edward A. George. End of watch, September 16th, 1908. Detective Wayne M. Berry. End of watch, May 23rd, 1929. Officer Eugene W. Minor. End of watch, October 25th, 1929. Officer Frank A. Pike. End of watch, May 19th, 1933. Officer James W. Thornton. End of watch, October 16th, 1937. Officer William G. Newberry. End of watch, October 17th, 1937. Officer James J. Goodson. End of watch, December 25th, 1947. Officer Eugene A. Jean Bissett. End of watch, November 19th, 1961. Officer James A. Krupp. April 15th, 1964. Officer Charles Lee Eustace. September 24th, 1967. Detective Herbert R. Sullivan. End of watch, August 18th, 1980. Officer Jeffrey Yaslowitz. End of watch, January 24th, 2011. Sergeant Thomas Batinger. End of watch, January 24th, 2011. Officer David Crawford. End of watch, February 21st, 2011. Again, I want to thank you for coming today. We just got a couple more things we're going to do. You're going to hear from our bagpipe player. Thank you, Sean Pappas from the Sheriff's Office today, playing Going Home. And we're going to retrieve our colors. And then you are free to come up and look at the monument, look around, greet one another. And again, thank you so much for coming here today. We appreciate it.
It's beautiful, it's surreal. I've seen the process of it for the past year, so to actually see it standing here and all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it, it makes it that much better, and it's beautiful. I can't wait to spend some time by it. It's a prime spot, and you're right there on the water, and you kind of get the feeling that it's kind of eternal, you know, the eternity of the water and the sky, and so yeah, it's definitely a beautiful spot, and it was done beautifully.
Well, this is your presentation we're making today. Fisher Carr Scholarship Fund had an 8th annual birthday bash, and when it's all said and done, we raised enough money to sponsor 11 more students through the Pinellas Education Foundation and the Mayor's Mentors and More Doorways program. So that hand you just gave was for yourself and all the friends of Jim and Skip that showed up and donated and spent a lot of money, including the mayor and Lori. So at this time, on behalf of this Kiwanis Club, it's my pleasure to present you with checks totaling $43,450.
Thank you. What an incredible gift that this Kiwanis Club continues to provide to the people of the city of St. Petersburg. Between Fisher Carr and all of the things that you do throughout the year as you mentor, as you get involved in the education of our young people, education is everything when it comes to the governance of a city. Education, and I've said this many times, is public safety, job creation, economic development, housing, quality of life. It allows us to celebrate our diversity, our art, our culture, and everything else that goes with it. And it starts with our kids. You get that. And so thank you on behalf of the people of the city and on behalf of the kids that you are giving hope. You are giving you are changing lives. And if you ever wonder, what do you do to make things better as an organization, you're transforming lives, because a lot of the kids who are at risk are the first kids in their family to ever get hope to go to college. And the graduation rate of your kids is over 93%. And they go off, they go to college, they learn a trade, they get a degree, and they come back and they continue to serve the people of our city. So thank you. It's been an incredible journey with you. I will announce that on November 3rd, you are all invited to, were you going to announce this, or did you? No. You're all invited to our Doorway Scholarships fundraiser that we have. It's in Demens Landing. Last year, you will remember, we had a country theme, and we invited Martina McBride, and that was kind of cool. This year, we went to the 80s, and I know that a lot of you in this room don't remember the 80s. We didn't go as far as the 60s or the disco era of the 70s, but we figured you could handle the 80s. And so we've invited the fabulous Thunderbirds. You know? Okay, everyone nod. Well, I mean, you don't have to nod. That was before. Way before your time. So we invite all of you to come and share in that experience. It's a wonderful time. And so, again, thank you. And Bob, all you do. Thank you very much.
It's some brand new fitness equipment, more than we had at Gladden and more than we had at Campbell. Brand new fitness equipment that wasn't even in the catalog when we were talking to Greenfield. So you're going to hear this is a very, very, very special day. We're the only people in the country right now that will be having this and doing this kind of a dedication. And I have to tell you, it's not officially dedicated, but it's already been in heavy, heavy use.
Welcome to the Azalea Fitness Zone dedication. These are always special because here in the city of St. Petersburg, we always stress quality of life and the improvement of one's person, not only spiritually and mentally, but physically. And these fitness zones have gone over very well. Our first was, I believe, at Lake Vista. Then we went to Gladden Park, Campbell Park. This is our fourth of what we hope to be many more in the city of St. Petersburg, giving people access to workout equipment in a beautiful outdoor setting. And certainly this park here is well used and well maintained by our Parks and Recreation Department. As Sherry said, this has been well received and greatly anticipated by the people out west, what we affectionately known as the Wild West of St. Petersburg, and anticipated in that we've had many people trying to use the equipment already. We just had one working out, and hopefully after we cut the ribbon, you'll continue. But these don't happen with our funds and just with the City of St. Petersburg efforts. The Trust for Public Lands has been a huge partner in this, and we want to thank the Trust for Public Lands and their commitment to physical activity and physical education, as well as the county, and we have a representative from the Pinellas County Health Department, but also the MetLife Foundation, who's been a partner in many of these, investing in our community, wonderful partnerships. And we're constantly, we want people young and old to use this. This equipment is really tailored for those 14 and up, but we do want those 14-year-olds, and as we strive to combat young, teenage obesity and even middle-aged obesity, we want people to have access. Not everybody can buy a membership to one of these, like a Gold's Gyms or a Lifestyle, but everyone can come out here and enjoy the beautiful setting and get some physical activity, and then they can run. They can run in the park, and there's a lot of activities here to do. So thank you to these partners. Again, we hope to continue these partnerships and have one in every park so people can have access to this fitness equipment.
This is a homecoming for me. I spent most of my youth here, going to junior high school and high school in St. Petersburg before going on to Florida State for college, and don't get back here often enough, so it's a treat, and I'm going to get to go on a bike ride to see some of the other projects we worked on here in town after we break up here. But I want to say a few words about this project primarily, but also about the Trust for Public Land. We're a national conservation organization, one of the two largest in the country, and we work from the Virgin Islands to Seattle, from Los Angeles to Maine, all over the country. But our particular focus is on urban parks, and I think most people consider us to be the preeminent urban park organization in the country. And we've developed a special focus on that and emphasis on that over time. And there are really three big reasons why we have moved in that direction. Number one, that's where the people are. 75% of the people in this country live in urban America, and that population is growing every year, as you all read in the paper, in places like Tampa, St. Pete, and many other parts of the country. The second reason we're focused on urban America is that local governments, as we all know, are faced with tough budget challenges these days and looking for ways to stretch their dollars for all the services that they provide, including parks, and we think we can help in that regard. And the third reason why we're focused on urban America has to do with health care, the cost and availability of health care, and the growing challenges we have in this country with obesity and related diseases from that, and the need to provide opportunities for people without paying a lot of money to be able to exercise, to recreate, to use wonderful facilities like this here at Azalea Park. So what we're trying to do here is, in our work in urban America, in St. Petersburg and many other cities, is not only to create new parks in some instances, but where you have existing wonderful facilities like Azalea Park, to enhance those facilities and make it more usable to a wider range of users through this fitness zone installation. We have begun to develop fitness zones in Los Angeles, Miami, and St. Petersburg, and we have plans to expand it to many other cities around the country. They've been exceedingly popular and well used, and what's wonderful about this installation is that it's unique and special and new in the sense that it contains additional pieces of equipment to serve the disability community. And the disabled community obviously has their own set of needs and appetite for being able to exercise, to be able to use this kind of equipment, but too often the facilities are not available for them. So this fitness zone has additional equipment that's been installed to serve the disabled community. So we're excited about this. It's another step in what we're doing in St. Petersburg and cities around the country to expand urban parks and the enhancements that exist in urban parks. And I think this is just going to be a great home run for St. Petersburg.
So MetLife, through the MetLife Foundation, is dedicated to empowering people to lead healthy, productive lives and to strengthen our communities. MetLife Foundation has been helping people of all ages to get outside and get fit through the creation and enhancement of city parks, green spaces, and other facilities like this that Ray has already mentioned. MetLife and the Trust share a genuine commitment to building livable communities and helping our citizens. For more than 15 years, so Mayor, help me with this, is that about how long a term lasts for a mayor? About 15 years? So, okay, so maybe about half of a term of a mayor, right? So about for 15 years, the MetLife Foundation has partnered with the Trust for Public Lands to turn the Trust vision into putting a park within the walking distance of Americans in their urban setting. A great vision. So what is MetLife and the Foundation? We have been able to provide significant financial support for the Trust for Public Lands to transform communities through the creation of over 40 parks, playgrounds, and greenways in cities across the U.S., as Ray has mentioned, stretching coast to coast, including Atlanta, New York, Boston, Chicago, New Orleans, San Francisco, and in Newark and Los Angeles, and even more important, earlier this year in St. Petersburg at Campbell Park, we have helped to build out fitness zones like you see here today being dedicated. The opening of these fitness zones demonstrates one way in which MetLife Foundation really cares about the health and the well-being of its community. Nothing really should prevent anyone from being able to get out, get fit, and stay healthy. The goal of the program, in part, is to increase exercise and, as Ray mentioned, help address obesity and related health concerns. So let's take that to a more personal level. I have 5 brothers. My parents are from Missouri, and our family is diehard St. Louis Cardinal baseball fans. How about that? 2 of my brothers have diabetes now. So they have taken steps through their doctor to improve their diet and their exercise. And why is that? They want to be around and they want to be able to share baseball with their grandsons. And so we hope at MetLife, and I hope personally, that a facility like this can help your neighbors pass along the heritage of family baseball so that some days grandfathers in St. Pete can take their grandsons to the Rays game. This fitness zone is a little different, as the mayor and Ray have already reviewed. This fitness zone has some stations dedicated just for the disability community. So this is truly a one-of-a-kind facility and a one-of-a-kind dedication today. So we're pleased to be here at Azalea Park and to dedicate this facility. I want to thank all of our partners on the program. Thanks very much from MetLife and from me.
It's really a great privilege to see that cities are involved in the health of our citizens. When I came to Pinellas County about now 30 years ago, the first question I asked in the health department, do not the city give some money for health? And I was kind of not getting any answer. But today I can tell you that the leadership of our city of St. Petersburg, their leader, the mayor, their council have been, and of course Sherry have been an extraordinary partners to put those opportunity available to people everywhere in the city. Building healthy community is not only the job of the health department. Let me tell you, we cannot do it alone, no way. It's every partner, being cities, local government, and I need to say, while I heard all the participation, let's not forget that the CPPW grant is really a federal grant, so your tax are coming back to the local where everything happens, but still sometimes we need support from our state and our federal government. So I'm very happy to see that. Environment is where people live, and that's a part of making us healthy. Making us healthy, it's called determinant of health. At birth, if I live in a nice neighborhood where there is facility and recreation center and play room and this addition for the parents and grandparents is what is going to help us to fight our disease, which are related to lack of exercise, bad nutrition, and the speaker before me have already said heart disease, diabetes. So why would we want to wait to be sick when we could prevent and promote and help people by any way we can do? Because as was said before, membership are expensive, and sometimes it's kind of boring to be in those rooms. What a better way to do exercise, outside and having your children around. I think it's a great family opportunity. So I really am very encouraged by the effort of our cities. I think everything has to happen at the local neighborhood and cities, and we could not have found better partner than the city of St. Petersburg in that new initiative. No one is going to think the health department are involved in doing a fitness zone, but we are, and we were very fortunate to be one of the 3 only grantee in the state of Florida to receive that federal grant. So, and we have partnered with the cities, not only St. Petersburg. So I hope St. Petersburg is the largest city of our county, so maybe they lead by example, and all the other cities are going to join them to also build those kind of fitness zones so that every Pinellas County resident have access. Thank you so much for your support, and I am really, really thrilled to see where we have come a long, long way to think about health much bigger than being just medicine. Health is before medicine comes. It's in the school, in the park, in the homes, and in the workplace, and that's where it needs to happen before we get sick. Thank you so much.
3,